Hi everyone, Aquarian Humanitarian here. If you're new to this channel, we have recently put out about 17 self-development videos related to mental health, consciousness, mindfulness, awareness, and soul evolution. So we are in a very sensitive and critical stage in human evolution, and we feel that these videos will help people because this is something that we don't talk about in mainstream media. So these are the things that we did not really learn in school or church, but it helped us. Hence, we have been sharing them. So today we will continue to talk about um, various souls' mission. Last week we discussed being a healer. So there are 11 in total. So let's see how many we can cover in an hour. With that said, I want to introduce Sir Tato Malay, the founder of AM Kamalayan Movement. Kamalayan means consciousness. Welcome, Sir Tato. How are you
Welcome.
today?
I'm welcoming myself. Yes, thank you, thank you for having me again in this podcast of yours, and I'm sure we're going to really be discussing a lot of controversial topics again, as usual.
As usual,
Well,
nothing
at
new.
this point in time, uh, I would like first to well make an introduction as to what we're talking about. As I've
Mhm.
said, we really have to know what our purpose is. And normally, what happened to us was when we were in school, we were taught or we were indoctrinated to actually become who they wanted us to be, who they want us to be, rather.
Mhm.
So we forgot everything about our dreams, our ambitions, because they told us those are not going to make money. We are not going to survive in terms of how we will be able to live according to what we want to do by, fulfilling our ambitions in terms of, well, what we had in mind during childhood. So practically, they changed everything for us. So
Mhm.
they told us that we can either become a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer, uh, whatever that would actually make someone or make you succeed in life. And that's what we believed in. So we followed them. So we took up the courses that were available to be able to prepare us for that particular purpose in life.
Mhm.
But then again, what happened to us was along the way, we forgot our real purpose. We forgot who we are. And
Mhm.
somehow, many of the things we were doing at present, or rather of late already when we were at the latter point of our career, we realized that we're not happy doing what we're doing
Mhm.
because this is something that we really wanted to do in the first place. So what happened was many of us got disappointed, frustrated, depressed, and many had a very, I would say, unhappy life as a result of that kind of a realization.
Yep.
So, eto ngayon, ang ginagawa natin is to explain to people that we really have a purpose in life. And whatever it is, it actually is up to you. We won't force you to believe in what we want you to say, we want us to tell you. But again, it's all up to you. But we are going to guide you as to how to be able to find that particular thing that you might want to really pursue at this point in time. So yun, no? So we have real, I would say, dreams when we were children. We wanted to become, uh, I would say, a dancer, a singer, um, an artist, a painter, whatever. But then we were discouraged by many people, like our parents, our teachers, and even our friends. So we let go of all those dreams. Now the thing here is, all right, again, is it just that? I mean, those kinds of activities or those kinds of careers that we are now really looking at as our real purpose. But maybe there is something behind that more, I would say, profound. And the question is it our soul's purpose? Because really, who came here back in terms of when we reincarnated? The soul. The soul was the one that reincarnated here. For what? To fulfill something, its purpose. And that's what I think is what you're supposed to learn, what our soul's purpose is. So, again, what is that purpose again? I mean, what is that for? For the soul. That is for experience, to experience something new, to learn something new again, and to not only learn, but to experience something new, to expand. That's the purpose of the soul. So at this point in time, that's exactly what we are now trying to talk about, to discuss the soul's purpose. So this is that the kind of thing that we normally would discuss when we would say ambitions or mga hobbies or whatever. Kanya-kanya yan. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's up to you still to pursue them, and you should pursue them if they are the ones that will make you happy. There's no reason why you should not do it. Like, okay, but again, there's a different purpose for the soul, and that's what we're discussing here. So the first one, our soul, the first purpose of we discussed last week was that of a healer. Many of us wanted to become healers here. Like many of us really became healers as what? Doctors, nurses, um, therapists, caregivers, whatever. So we were able to pursue that kind of a purpose. So maybe it's your soul's purpose as well. That's why many stayed long in that particular career of being a doctor, and they enjoyed it. And so that's part of that's the soul's purpose, to heal people. Now the second one is what we call the seer. What do we mean by a seer? The one who sees something beyond the ordinary. What normally people cannot see, the seers can see. And who are the seers? They're the what? Mga tinatawag natin mga ano yan? Hindi manghuhula. Iba yung manghuhula. That's another kind of but again, these are people who can really see beyond the ordinary. They can see ghosts or mga multo. They can see fairies. Di ba? Remember when we were children, many of us would see mga duende, mga dwarfs, or fairies. Still, again, that's not really an impossibility because they are real and they are really they really appear in terms of what they are to those who are ready to see them. And normally, since children still don't have that kind of I would say, bias or block in terms of their mind, that they're thinking, they're open to see whatever. And somehow, most of the time, we don't believe them when they say, "Oh, I saw a fairy a while ago," and they would even be able to describe the fairy, and we would say, "Oh, you've got a good imagination." And that's how we treat them, and somehow parang nawala tuloy ng gana yung bata na magkwento pa as to what he or she is experiencing. But again, as I've said, we are all seers. We have just to develop that kind of a potential in us. We can see. Now, the one that normally we acknowledge as that who can really see is what we call those who have the third eye. Di ba? If you have the third eye, somehow you see events before they happen. You see dead people or people about to die or whatever, gruesome scenarios they're able to see. And those are actually powers that are still, again, available for all of us. But not many have learned to use them. And many who have learned to use them somehow feel they're, they're not comfortable living with such a power because, they don't want to see a lot of, I would say, gruesome events that affect themselves because many of the things that they see are relatives of theirs who are going to suffer something in the future, and somehow they're able to foretell the event ahead. And somehow many have tried to close their third eye again because that kind of a reaction to it. I mean, it's a gift. Now, if you know how to use it properly, you can use it to your advantage. So, kanya-kanyang ano yan eh. So, what others pa that we can consider as seers? Well, those who have what we call intuition, they get a lot of messages, and not exactly just messages. Feel they have this kind of I would say, a feeling that there is something that is going to happen next, and somehow most of the time it's true that what they actually really felt became a reality. So again, these are people that we call psychic as well. So we call them by many names. So, but again, as I've said, maybe if you are if you have that kind of a gift at this point in time, and you feel you can make use of it to help people, that's one of your purposes. So being a seer is good. I mean, to fulfill one's purpose because maybe that's why you came here, to be able to foretell uh, events before they happen and warn people as to what is going to happen, so they can avoid whatever they want to to uh, to avoid later on. So again, is another form of seer is a medium, those who can see dead people, not only see but also can talk with dead people. I know of a lot of them. Um, Marami talagang yung nila, no, experiences sila, they get invited to funerals because they would want to know some secrets that the dead relative might not have told them, especially important documents or whatever that is important that they need to really know as well. So they would ask this particular seer who can see and talk to dead people to come. And normally, when the moment they're there in front of the coffin, because I've been able to see them do their work during that time when they were actually being asked to to,
Interesting.
to reveal. So I would watch him, and then he would talk. He actually would. He is the only one who would be able to talk to the dead person. The relatives cannot see, so the relatives have to tell my friend the questions. So it's my friend who's going to ask the dead person as to what the answer, what the question is. So ganoon siya, parang medium na nga talaga sa yung middle person. And it actually really worked perfectly. I mean, it's not something na parang hindi naman totoo, hula lang, but it's really, I mean, exact as to the description and the things that they wanted to learn. They were able to really get the information talaga na maganda, lahat perfect. So that's a seer is also a medium. Now, ano pa ang mga seer? Yung mga, well, as I've said kanina, yung mga nakakapag-communicate with imaginary friends. I don't know what kind of friends you have that you would call imaginary. But ako, I have some friends who I would be able to communicate with through my intuition. So it's not exactly a, a dialogue where we would converse and I would hear them say something. But it's more of a nudge. Parang, yes, parang parang I would already get the feeling of assurance that they were saying yes to what I was actually asking or whatever. But I don't hear a certain word. Wala yung kumakausap. Hindi ganun ang dating. But again, as I've said, I'm very intuitive and I would get a lot of information without really using words, but the idea itself would crop up. So practically, I get to get a sense of what they're trying to tell me. So ganun ang nangyayari sa akin. Again, as I've said, these are imaginary friends. The people don't believe me when I tell them that, of course. And somehow, you know, uh, many of the many of our children really are open to those kinds of situations. They can really see. Now, the thing here is, what the question really is: if you have that gift, how are you going to develop it? Like, for example, my friend, he was not really sure that that was his gift of seeing dead people. So when I convinced him, when he was attending my Kamalayan lectures, and he told me that was his gift, and he said, I just don't know how to use it. And sabi ko, well, you have to really use it properly because you just cannot just let go of it because not everyone has that gift. Now, since you have that gift, you have to announce it to people that you are available for that kind of a purpose. So what we did in Kamalayan, every October 31, Halloween, we would have this event. In Antoko, I would invite people who would want to talk to their dead relatives, and then I present this guy, and this guy would we would give instructions as to how it's done, and one by one, this guy would talk to their dead relatives. Talagang ako talagang nakakatuwa dahil many of them would get closures. Kasi dati parang wala closure nung namatay yung father nila. Parang galit sila sa father nila when they were able to talk uh, during that occasion. Nagkaroon ng closure and sabi nila, wow, I'm happy. I was able to really hear I was able to get the message from my father that hindi pala totoo yung nararamdaman namin. So, yun ang kwan. That's the purpose of that kind of a heal, of a soul, not of a seer, to help people be able to understand what's really happening in their life. So, So, I don't know if you can add more to that. I think I've given many examples already as to what a seer is. Ikaw, ano pang
Actually, I'm not I don't wanna I don't have anything to add about the seer. Pero one thing that came up while you were speaking about this in your introduction is that what happens if some viewer are watching this right now and they don't believe in reincarnation? What do you say about that?
Well, as I've said, we cannot make people believe. So if they don't want to believe, that's no problem for us. I mean, we won't try to convince them because it's not their time yet to be able to understand these things. No problem with that. So go on
Okay.
with life, and that's it. I mean, okay, but okay, going back to the seer. No, maybe okay. At this point in time, there is something that we have to see. All of us were given a gift, but we're not able to really see it in its entirety. And what is it? It was Jesus who mentioned it. The kingdom of God is in you, is within you. When the apostles asked, "Where is it?" They were they thought it was going to be outside, but Jesus said, "No, within you." Now the thing is, how do we see the kingdom within us? You see, I mean, this is something that we can actually add to that. Now the thing is, I mean, what is the kingdom all about? Everything that you want, right? So we have everything that we want. Can we see it already inside us? Because we have to be convinced that we already are able to see everything that we want. Because that's what Jesus said. You have everything already in you. That's why he said, ask and you shall receive. And be thankful, gratitude, God, because it's already given. Before you ask, you have been given it already. So do you see whatever you want already within in you first? Because if you cannot see it first in you, in yourself, you cannot see it outside. That's the real secret there. That's why in the law of attraction, if you cannot see it first within inside you, you cannot manifest it outside because everything is just a reflection of what is inside you. Now the thing here is, can you see it? But seeing is not the only thing. Yes, that's the first step to see it. But is it real in what you're seeing? When you are imagining it, are you really seeing it in terms of it being alive, present in your mind? Or you're just seeing a picture? That's why ako, when I tell people about affirmations and the law of attraction, and somehow they talk about the vision board because it reminds them as to what to look at. Sabi ko, the vision board is not really that helpful. Why? Because it's dead. It's just one picture. Maybe you posted several pictures, pero it's stagnant. You have to make that picture alive in your dreams. That's how you should see it. Anything that you want to make manifest, you have to see it alive first in you. That it's already there. In terms of it's all the sides, hindi lang yung front side. Kasi yung picture, isang side lang yung nakikita mo eh. Yung sa
Mm-hmm.
kabila, yung sa likod. And not only that, that's why ako, when I teach about manifestations, I tell them, instead of just really looking at a picture, write what you want to what you want to have. For example, a car. You want to have a car. On one page, on the title, lagyan mo lang ito kung ano yung gusto mo, car. Now, different, I mean, under the lines under that, what's the color of the car? What's the model of the car? How do you see yourself driving that car? In other words, you have to make it alive in you have to feel it, that it's already, you're doing it already, you're driving it, you're having it, you're enjoying it. Because you cannot manifest it if you cannot do it that way. That's why when you look at just a picture, wala yan. It's dead. I mean, boring yun eh. Pero yung nakikita mo na nag-imagine ka na talaga na, yun na nga, that's how you should see it. So, what is your feeling? Remember, everything is just energy, frequency, vibration. So what are you feeling? Because again, if you're not feeling happy about it, wala lang, wala. It will not manifest. And many of us try to affirm something na affirm, they will just state it, but they don't feel it. So it doesn't happen. And then they complain. I've, I've affirmed this for 30 days already and nothing happened. Eh kasi nga, para kayo nagdasal na paulit-ulit na prayer na hindi mo na-feel. Para lang redundant na siya na ginagawa mo. So, boring talaga. Eh, you cannot manifest it. That's why nga yung when you write it, every day you add something to the details of what you want. Like for example, okay, I will in my car I have a a sound system, stereo, whatever. Tapos doon, mamaya I would add what we call this spray for it to smell good. So talaga you have to really feel it, smell it, whatever. Lahat yan, ganun. Buhay na buhay siya sa ano mo. That's how I was able to manifest my cars then. Because again, buhay siya kasi talaga. Kaya nagkakasabay-sabay, dalawa-dalawa nga dati nagmamanifest sa akin. Sabi ko, because it was alive with me. So I would easily see it outside. That's how you should see it. That's how you become a seer of of the things that you want to manifest. So every day yun. Pag-add ako, excited ako palagi. Ano kaya idadagdag ko doon sa car na gusto ko. So, hindi ka bored doon sa katitingin na ng picture. Nag-add ka pa ng mga detalya. That's how you should actually do affirmations. Hindi yung you say the same words every day where for 30 days, wala yun. That's not going to happen. But if you make it alive in your mind, in your imagination, di ba? Kung minsan, mas buhay na buhay pa nga yung mga nasa dreams natin. Eh. And then that's exactly what comes out. Anong buhay na buhay sa atin? Yung mga galit natin, yung mga sama na loob, yung mga gusto natin gawin sa masama sa ibang tao. Ayun, buhay. Feel natin yun eh. Negative emotion. Mas talagang dama natin eh. Nangyayari nga. Nagmamanifest sa labas. Because basically, that's how you feel it. Eh. Ang mas madali. That's the fastest way to manifest things. So, doon ka doon sa low vibration, easily you can manifest them. Kaya sasabihin mo, bakit gano'n? Puro bullshit yung lumalabas sa buhay ko. Eh, kasi nga, feel na feel mo eh. Yung mga gusto mo, hindi mo kasi ginagawa ng effort na, hindi, ito yan, everyday I will add now to this. Gusto ko, dadagdag ko sa coaching gusto ko, o sa bahay na gusto ko, whatever it is. Dagdag ka ng dagdag. In other words, pinapalaki yung dream mo. Hindi yung isang picture lang na, yun lang yun. And it's not like that. So that's how you see it. So,
okay.
Siguro,
good.
The next.
I think we can move to our...
Unless you want to add something to that.
No, I'm good. So we can move forward to number 3.
Okay, number 3 is the messenger. Now, the messenger, again, we have a lot of, I would say, we categorize them as what? Angels, guides, spirit guides. Who else? Ako nga, extraterrestrials. Ano ba yung mga messengers ko pa? Well, dead relatives. If you have dead relatives who are able to talk to you, why not? I mean, they're still sending messages. They're still alive. They're not dead in terms of what we think of them. They're still alive out there. So if you want to communicate with them, you can still communicate with them and they will communicate with you. And so what else that we want to
Nobody dies. Nobody
dies.
dies. Yeah, we just transition to another realm because we're all energy.
Yeah. Okay. As a messenger, what do we need to understand? We are here to be able to help. people as to what some positive messages that would uplift a lot of them. That's exactly our role. I consider myself a messenger. I get messages from a lot of guides that I am able to convey through, programs like this, that's what we're doing, or through my blogs or through my articles that I write. So that's how I am able to use myself being a messenger. So again, as I've always seen in terms of what's going on, we are bombarded with a lot of messages coming from media, television, radio, social media, movies, whatever, print media. So the messages are everywhere. The thing here is how are we able to I would say evaluate the messages that we get. Do we really try to edit them in terms of just choosing the best ones that we want, or practically we are more into the more negative things? Many of us, yung mga negative news, yun ang gusto instead of the good news. So what kind of messages are you getting? So we have to take a look at that as well. Because the messengers are all there. They're just sending practically any message that they can send. The media, you have to understand the role of that particular, I would say, ano ba tawag natin sa media? Um, well, well, we have television and radio and print and social media. Now, the thing is, especially television and radio, what are they? They're business enterprises. They're not there to really uplift everyone. Of course, they try to say they are trying to help people, but they want to make money out of it. And the only way to make money out of it is to what? To scare people, to create fear so that they will actually more focus on them and follow them every time. No, is that okay? I mean, being in fear as what they want you to do, that's being controlled by media. And that's what they're doing. They send those messages to us to be able to create that kind of fear for them to control us. So we get hooked to them and we follow them every day from morning till evening. And then we complain about our life becoming not the way that we want it to be. Why? Why will you still complain when in fact, nga, you followed everything naman that you wanted to do. You watched every show that they showed us, all the violence, the the sampalan, the barilan, and whatever that we get to see. We enjoyed them. So what do you expect from a life like that? You will experience the same things. Sabi nga nila, bakit ganun? Ang gulo-gulo na ng mundo. Ano ba pinapakita sa media? Hindi pa puro negative, puro violence, puro one. And so, that exactly would create the kind of life that we would experience. Again, as I've said, you have different kinds of messengers. So, what kind of a messenger are we trying to become? If you're a soul who reincarnated in this particular time, at this particular time, what kind of a messenger will you be? Again, as I've said, you have a big role to do at this point in time because people need to learn new things. People need to learn the positive things, the only loving things that they can really learn. But if you're not going to add to that and really more of uh, comply to already what is ongoing right now, wala. I mean, you're not doing your um, purpose in terms of as a messenger. So the thing here is, what kind of messages really do we need to see? We are now in the Great Awakening or the Big Shift, or we're creating a new world. Now the thing is, what kind of a world are we going to create if we're going to send that kind of a message that we had been sending out ever since, especially through media? What media had been notoriously been churning out. Hindi ba? I mean, ano na talaga tayo eh. Control na tayo. Kaya ang gulo ng kwan. But again, as I've said, there is this shift that's going to happen, a shift in consciousness, a shift in dimension. That's why messengers like us, like me and you, we are trying to uplift the consciousness of the people para mawala na yung away,
Dear.
yung hatred, yung gera. So we want peace, we want love, we want happiness, we want harmony, we want joy. So that's what we're now focused in. We're 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 kind of few at the moment, but we know we're going to become a big, powerful force in due time. So, huwag na tayo bibitaw. We are actually now on the right path. All we need to do is just continue doing this and not be swayed by by those who are really in power at this point in time. So, yun lang yun. So, again, messages that we get from angels. We all have angel guides, angels. We have guardian angels. That's what people don't know. Or people think, yes, they have angels, but for what? What is the use of an angel? They're supposed to guide us and to protect us, but only when we ask them. They will not do anything unless we ask them. What do we mean by they will not do anything? Because we have free will. You can do whatever you want to do, and they will not interfere. That's what you want? Okay, they will allow it. Sabi ko nga bakit gano'n? Pinababayaan ba ako ng mga guides ko? Bakit ito nangyayari sa akin? Sabi ko, have you asked for their help? Have you really talked to them? Now, the thing is, when you talk to them, or even to God, let's not only talk about angels or spiritual guides. Let's say God. How do we communicate with God? Does God communicate with us? Yes. But what kind of communication? What kind of communication do we have when we actually pray to God? Does God answer? No. Not through words. Di ba sabi ko nga sa'yo, I don't get words. I get messages. Well, sometimes feelings. Because again, okay, what is God? God is energy. Okay, so what is God as energy? If you communicate with someone who is actually acknowledged as energy, what is that? But the thing here is we are all energy. Everything is energy. So what does that entail? We have frequency and vibration. Since we are energy, we're always vibrating. And whatever we're vibrating, it gets into a frequency. And that frequency is the one that manifests whatever it manifests through whatever we're trying to vibrate. Now, what is it that we're vibrating? Remember, if you are emotional, because our thoughts really don't mean anything. If words don't mean anything. Kaya nga even during affirmations, when you just say words, wala yan. Unless you feel it, unless you are able to really feel the emotion about that kind of a thing that you want, you won't get it. So mas madali kaya marami sa atin, mas madali magalit. So emotions yun. So that's why they get the kind of a reaction at once. Sabi nga nila, bakit gano'n? Dami kong kaaway. Bakit? Palagi kang galit eh. So, ang dali mo manifest yan. I mean, yung mga nagbabanggaan na kotse, yung mga, you, tapos you blame each other, you blame the other person, but actually you attracted each other because you started it. And somehow connected to each other according to, again, since the energy was there and you vibrated to that and it formed that kind of a frequency, eksakto, kung saan man kayo pumunta, kayo pa rin ang magbabanggaan. Kasi kayo pa rin yung same frequency na at that moment na, na nag-iisip ng gano'n, nagbabibrate ng gano'n. Again, as I've said, it's how God works through us. God answers us not through words, but answers us through, ito nga, yung mga situations na gusto natin, whatever we want, sabi nga natin, we don't get what we want. We get what we want according to who we are. Who are you? What kind of a person are you? What are your feelings at the moment? Are you positive as a person? Are you negative? Are you hopeless as a person? Or are you hopeful as a person? It all depends on you. So God only says yes according to who you are. He doesn't actually tell you, hey, you have to do this. Kaya nga sabi nga, ako palagi ko sinasabi, God always says yes. That's the message that I always get from God. Yes, that's what you want? Yes. God, hindi ko naman gusto yung magkasakit ako. Sino may kasalanan kasakit ka? You blame other people for your sickness. It's you actually who started it. So God said, that's what you want? Yes, that's for you. So if you're aware of that, you'll be able to change now whatever you want to change.
Unfortunately, people are not aware of that, that they cause their
That's
sickness.
why we're trying to teach it through this kinds of podcasts that we're doing.
Yeah.
And the thing is, ito nga akala nila, pinabayaan ako ng Diyos. Hindi. As I've said, even our spirit guides, our angels, they're always just there. Pero sabi nila, gusto mo yan eh. That's your free will. Why will I interfere? That's what you want. Maybe the only time they will interfere is if it's a matter of life and death. If talagang biglang there was this some incident na talagang to pull you out of this being harmed, that's the only time. Pero yung everyday, ano mo, talaga it's all you. You are the one, you are a creator. Remember, we are all gods as we. Kaya paano mo sasabihin na kailangan ganito ka, kailangan ganito. But again, as I've said, if you understand that that saying that we are all gods, what does that mean, or what does that imply? That we are creators. And what does that mean as creator? What do we mean by being a creator? We create everything that happens to us. Oh, that's our power. Tapos sabi mo, wala kang kakayahan. Meron. Ang lakas ng power natin as creators. And that's why God already said, bahala ka na sa buhay mo. You already have the power. Kaya mo na yan. Kaya lang, where do you use that power? How do you use it? That's the problem. That's why many of those early, I would say, entities, when God started spreading itself because God wanted to experience Himself through other beings. So somehow through us, God is experiencing us. How is God experiencing itself through us? Again, what does that mean again? We have God power. We have the power to really create whatever.
I
And
want to
somehow sasabihin
interrupt
mo,
you. I want to
yeah,
interrupt you just for a second, Kuya Tats, because I just telepathically send you that message to
yeah.
talk about exactly what you just started talking right now.
Okay, so I got no message. I mean,
You got the message. I said you need to talk
uh,
about the that we are divine sparks. We are experiencing things, and
see,
whatever we're
that's why
experiencing,
we're, at,
we're supposed to report back.
yun na nga, di ba, we are all connected eh. Kaya nga we are all one eh. I mean, especially with lovers, yung mga husbands and wives, they don't talk to each other anymore because they know already what is what the other one is saying. It's through intuition, telepathy, or telepathy, whatever that is.
Telepathically. Yeah.
Uh, so you don't need words. Words is the weakest link actually to communicate using words. It's practically, ano, again, as I've said, we are all energy. So what are you vibrating? So your emotions really are the ones that have to really be defined as to how to use it. Otherwise, if you use it negatively, well, it's up to you. If you enjoy that kind of a life. But again, as I've said, I want to be happy. I want to be peaceful. I want to be harmonious. So I get that kind of a life. Wala nangyayaring masama sa akin. Enjoy lang ako. Uh, am I surprised? No, because I know I create. I create all those things. So, hindi ako nakakaroon ng doubt about what is going to happen today in my life. Ganun lang naman ang
Sounds
buhay
good.
talaga natin. Imagine, we have that kind of power. Somehow, we were controlled and taught otherwise. Na wala kayo, mahina lang kayo, tao lang kayo. Hindi kayo makakagawa ng mga ganyang bagay. Ibang tao lang yan. That's why kasi Jesus really came here for that purpose alone. To be able to tell people that you are gods as you. I mean, and that heaven on earth is already at hand and it's within every one of us.
Mm-hmm.
And biglang tinanggal na simbahan, tinanggal ng religion na, hindi,
Yeah.
wala yan. Kailangan mamatay ka muna para lang. Balik ka na, balik. Pagdating mo rin sa langit, ano na naman ako, nandito na naman ako. Yung pala, dapat doon ko pa pala dapat na-experience na yan eh. Bakit hindi ko na-experience yan doon? Babalik na naman ako dito sa lupa. But now, I mean, we are going to experience heaven on earth. We are experiencing it now. Um, again, as I said, not everyone is going to experience it, but to those who are already knowledgeable about it, that's it. And this is the time now. So again, we have to be very, very thankful already that we have realized who we are as, the gods that we are. Imagine, ang sarap na feeling di ba? I mean, I am God as me. I don't need another kind of, I would say, support from another person na sasabihin nila, hindi, ako bahala sa'yo, ako tulungan kita. But again, yes, we can actually help one another because many of the things that we are not able to do, sila yung nakakagawa. And so that's how our uniqueness would come about because, all of us have to be doing different things, not only the same things. Ang ginawa sa atin sa eskwelahan, ginawa tayo uniform eh. Yan tayo pinagsusuot ng uniform para pare-pareho. Pag-iisip natin pare-pareho. Lahat pare-pareho. Para what?
Yep.
For what? Control. Ayun. Hindi yung,
Yep.
hindi, iba ako eh. Dapat iba. Ganun dapat eh. Hindi ganun na nangyari eh. Hindi natin pinagmalaki yung, hindi, iba ako eh. I mean, ang gusto natin, gusto ko maging katulad nila. Gusto ko maging katulad nila. So, yeah, maging katulad
Abnormal
naman
is
tayo
the
lahat.
new normal now.
Exactly.
Abnormal is the new normal now. That's what we're creating. Be authentic.
Yeah. Be
Authenticity is the
authentic.
highest
All right.
vibration.
So, again, we have our guides, we are messengers. Our souls mismo, tayo rin. We are also here as messengers now, telling people as to what to do. That's why we continue doing this, talking to people about our, what we know, and trying to share
Mhm.
what we know to them. That's it. I mean, that's exactly what a messenger is. The purpose of a messenger is. So
Okay.
we go to the next one.
I think we can wrap it up on this
Uh,
last one.
how many minutes pa tayo?
We have 5 more minutes. So,
5 more minutes. Okay. Sige.
yeah.
Anyway, number one, the next
Number 4.
the next purpose of the soul is that of a visualizer. Visualizer. I've touched many of the things already on that kind of word, visualizer kanina. Di ba? When we try to visualize things, we have to really be visualizers. What do we exactly mean by a purpose of that of a visualizer? What can you see? Sabi ko nga, in Kamalayan, a Kamalayan learner, what we really teach in Kamalayan is to see a new vision of a new world. That's how we visualize now our life, that we are now living in a new world. So, what else do we need to visualize? A better future, a better life, a better what? That's why what can we now see in this new world that we are now trying to create? Are we trying to create the old world the way it is, but just trying to change some features? No. 5 years from now, nobody will be able to already distinguish or to be able to distinguish this world uh, from the past, because this world is going to really be different. In what way? Diba? Ang tanong in what way is it going to be different? Because, people now are changing. We see, people becoming what we call a new human, a galactic human at that, a divine being at that. So, we are now going to see a different person. We are trying to avoid what we now see as to what those people who are in control right now would want us to become in the future, in transhumanism, in transhuman, which is being able to uh, compromise with artificial intelligence, with machines. Just like, di ba, si Elon Musk already had a chip already inside his brain. Wala namang masama sana dun sa yung sa, for example, if you have a heart problem, you change it or you put a pacemaker there to make your heart function longer. So, diba? That's what we do. I mean, we insert a pacemaker. Or, for example, if we broke our limbs, they try to change some parts of it, our bones, with some metal structures. That's why iba pag dumadaan sa survey sa ng mga malls at saka sa airport, tumutunog because they have metals inside their bodies. But again, those are things that are not supposed to be bad. No? It's supposed to help us. Because, nga, wala ka ng buto talaga. And you need to really uh, replace it with a metals, bone, whatever, to make you still walk. So no problem with that. Pero yung changing um, our minds in terms of making us more intelligent, well, maybe medyo aware, ano na tayo yan, nakakatakot na yan in a way. Why? Because when you put chips inside the brain of a person, yes, that person can avail of the vast knowledge that it can really create for us. I mean, in terms of para computer ka, yung sabihin, ang computer, lahat ng knowledge nandyan na. So, after access, I mean, easily you can access already all kinds of information that you want. So that makes you really a very intelligent person. Again, okay, is that something wrong? Well, as I've said, as long as you're able to do it for a positive thing, no problem with that. But how are we now seeing it in the future? Because anything that people now implant on your brain, they can trace you already. And so when governments develop all these things now, like a country, a certain country would develop this thing, this technology. Because it's not going to be global at once. Some countries will develop it because they're advanced already. Somehow they will create human beings who are already in that kind of a situation where they're able to change a lot of things in their kind of setup, get up. So they are trying to make us that kind of a person. Transhumanism, combining AI and being a person, human being. But again, we have seen a lot of alien beings who were compromised with advanced technology. And that's how they destroy their civilizations because they're not able now to reproduce. They're not able now to live their lives the way they should live because practically they lost their soul. So again, that's why our soul is the most important thing that we have to still be considering at this point in time. That's why when you talk about souls, we talk about who we are and what really our soul. We now look at the purpose of why the soul really came here for. Otherwise, if we just ignore our soul, chances are we'll just become not an organic being in the future, but susceptible to being compromised as to that of an AI. And many of the things that we are now experiencing, like for example, di ba, we have what we call virtual reality. Like you put on these glasses and you can already experience scenes that you would consider parang totoo, di ba? Like yung mga 3D, and you wear those glasses. I have that one. I bought one to just try to experience it. So talagang ang feeling mo, totoo. Once you play a movie, a video on it, parang ka nandun talaga na you're interacting with it. And that's how they want people in the future to become. To be able to really now become virtual and actual at the same time, or real at the same time. But if you use what we call our consciousness, we don't need those things. So what kind of thing that we want to experience? You know, di ba sa virtual setting kasi gusto natin na-experience yung to be in another place. But with our consciousness, we already are able to do it through parallel lives, parallel realities, parallel dimensions. We can project ourselves into those kinds of situations at any given time. And that is the power that we have at this point in time, that we are now going to experience in the new world that we are going to live in terms of who we are. That's why we cannot compromise ourselves with AI. That's why talaga kamalayan ang aking one talaga, because it is our organic self, our organic being that is going to give us that kind of an everlasting life. So, yun ang kwan. Now, what else do they want to see in the future? Right now, some countries are able now to do something with our DNA, affect our DNA to the point that you can now choose what kind of an intellect being you want to be in the future, or how artistic you would want to become, and they can actually now be able to design it in your DNA. So that's how they are able to program human beings. Again, as I've said, that's compromising yourself already. You're not anymore as organic as what we are now experiencing. That's why we're talking now of our soul's purpose, because it's our soul really who's going to really undergo all these things that we are now choosing. What are we choosing to happen? So again, what are we visualizing in terms of what's going on? We really have to be very careful as to how to really now see ourselves doing things in this new world. Do we like it? Of course, we should like it. I mean, this is what I've been waiting for the longest time. So now I'm going to see it, experience it, live it, and talagang I would say uh, enjoy it. And that's what I asked for. I mean, sabi ko, I want to live it. I want to live my life in this particular time, because this is the moment when these things are already are at hand for us. I mean, it's already, nasa atin na. And the only way to really make it real or a reality is through our consciousness, uplift our consciousness. So we are there already. Konti na lang. Ando na. Actually, ando na talaga eh. Especially itong after this new lunar new year that we just experienced, ito na yung the stages where we are going to see one by one everything that is going to change already drastically in our life. Yung iba matatakot dahil sabi nila, ito lang nangyayari, parang hindi na namin alam kung ano na nangyayari. Kami, alam namin kasi we're expecting these things to happen. Yung mga alignment of the planets and the stars, what are they? We know the meanings. That's why we are prepared for all those changes that we are now expecting. So this is a very, I would say, crucial moment for us to be able to visualize all these things now, because it's already happening. And then I say, we already have been given the dates for that, for those things to happen. And then on the 26th, I think, tomorrow, tomorrow, next week pala. Ayun, yung mga, doon na mag-align lahat yung mga planets in terms of yung zero, whatever. Sabi ko, enjoy ah. Sabi ko, ito na yun. This is it. So,
Okay.
That's it. I think siguro, yeah, unless you want to add something.
As far as visualizer is concerned, no, but while you were speaking, I jot down some points that I wanted to mention. For example, like you talk about the Antichrist. The Antichrist is actually AI.
Yep.
Sorry, AI is actually the Antichrist. And I mentioned this before. There's going to be, at some point, there's going to be a 3 timelines post the great solar flash. And that's not going to happen decades from now. That's going to happen very soon. We just don't know the exact date, but three timelines, meaning the positive, which is the organic humans, the negative, which are the transhumanism,
Yeah,
the following the
there's
transhumanism
still
agenda, and then the neutral, the ones who are in the middle. And also, the one thing that came up while you were speaking is that history repeats itself. You know,
well. I hope
I was
it
thinking
doesn't
about,
really.
I'm thinking about fall of Atlantis. Because remember, when you were talking
Okay,
about,
yes,
yeah, when you're talking about the use of technology, the DNA structures being manipulated,
yeah,
I mean, this is exactly what happened with the fall of Atlantis, right? So
exactly.
history repeats itself. And what else did I note here? So you also talk about organic versus virtual reality. Uh, so in the organic timeline, we as humans can astral travel. So we don't really need help from anybody. We can astral travel, we can quantum jump. So
Yeah,
those are the
anytime that
organic
you want.
timeline.
All
That's not the AI
actually,
timeline.
oh, as a matter of fact, nga, yung mga, imagine yung mga spaceship ng mga ET. Wala kang makikita controls doon sa ano. It's all being uh, manipulated by our consciousness. We are one with everything. Kasi yung consciousness natin ang talagang the power behind everything. And you don't need to change any part of your body to change your consciousness. All you need to do is just to uplift your consciousness to a higher level. That's all. And that's what we're teaching.
And how do you level
And
up? Try to have
again,
a
as I said,
positive vibration. You cannot
yeah,
be
happy
manifesting
life,
that when you're angry, when you're
peaceful,
fearing. Yeah.
loving. Exactly. So, sige. So, with that, I'd like to say
All
thank
right.
you again.
Yes, yes, yes. All right. We forgot to mention you are having your Kamalayan lecture tomorrow. Would you
Oh,
wanna
yes,
add
every
where you're
other
gonna be at?
Friday. Yes, we'll be at Seattle's Best, Glorieta 3 ground floor at 3 p.m. tomorrow, Friday. So I hope you get to see many of you there. And we always do it every other Friday. So I would like to invite everyone to join. So with that, thank you again for letting me plug our Kamalayan Cafe session this Friday.
All right. Sounds good. We'll see everyone next week again for our
Yep.
next discussion of our soul mission. Bye
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Bye. Bye.